Think about that feeling when you score a goal, cross a finish line, or just feel your heart racing after a really good run. It's a totally universal feeling, right? But how do we actually ensure that children facing physical or mental limitations get to experience that exact same thrill? Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking the incredible world of physical education and sports for children with special needs, and we're going to find out exactly how we level the playing field so everyone gets a chance to play. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start by defining terms, then we'll look at types of disabilities and recognizing specific disorders. After that, we'll dive right into adapted physical education, look at the power of inclusion, and wrap it all up with the professional support team.
Section 1. Defining terms.
Okay, let's dive into this. Language really matters here, and is so easy to mix these concepts up. But we've got to draw a sharp, immediate line. A disability is a condition that causes a long-term impairment. We're talking about things that directly affect your fundamental day-to-day life, like eating, walking, or personal hygiene. It literally restricts function. On the flip side, a disorder is an ailment that disrupts someone's health, and it's often used to describe mental conditions. It basically creates a roadblock in performance and reduces overall efficiency. What might start out seeming pretty ordinary can actually grow into something much more harmful if we don't address it.
And speaking of language, historically, the terms people used were super medical and honestly, sometimes pretty stigmatizing. Thankfully, things have changed. Under frameworks like the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act of 2016, there's been a massive, critical shift. Now, we use respectful terms like person with disability, or over in India, Divyangjan. When you're in an educational setting, the term you'll probably hear the most is children with special needs, or CWSN for short. Getting our language right is truly that absolute first step towards genuine inclusion.
Section 2. Types of disabilities.
Now, before we get completely bogged down in textbook definitions, I want you to picture something. Think about amputee football players for a second. This brilliantly illustrates the whole point. A physical limitation absolutely does not mean the end of athleticism, or competition, or teamwork. No way. It just means we need to adapt the approach. It's all about celebrating the triumph of the human spirit that we're really striving to support here.
Now, what's really interesting here is how we break down the three main categories of disability because they get confused all the time. First up, cognitive disability. This one's neurological. It's basically a roadblock in how a person stores, processes, or produces information. Then we have intellectual disability. This involves limitations in intellectual functioning, so things like reasoning and learning, along with everyday practical and social skills. And finally, physical disability. This is exactly what it sounds like, a limitation on physical functioning, mobility, or stamina. And it can actually include visual impairments or respiratory issues too.
So, if we zoom in on cognitive disability for a second, how does that actually play out in a classroom? Well, a child might struggle with a memory disorder, meaning they find it super hard to remember something they literally just heard. Or they might be hyperactive, which makes it incredibly tough to just sit still in a static classroom or stand on a field for a long time. Then there's dyslexia, creating real hurdles with reading, writing, and speaking. When you think about it, you can totally see why standard PE instructions might need a little tweaking for these students.
Section 3. Recognizing specific disorders.
Okay, we've talked about the broader categories, but educators also need to be tuned into specific medical disorders. There are 5 really common ones to know. First, ADHD, which affects attention and impulse control. Second, SPD, or sensory processing disorder, where the brain basically struggles to handle sensory info. Third is autism spectrum disorder, ASD, which impacts communication. Fourth, we've got oppositional defiant behavior, ODD, involving patterns of angry or defiant behavior. And fifth, OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, which brings unwanted thoughts and repetitive behaviors. These aren't just a bunch of random acronyms. They're real, everyday hurdles that require thoughtful, adapted teaching strategies.
Section 4. Adapted Physical Education Explained.
So, what does this all mean? Well, the crucial point is this. Participating in physical education is not some special privilege. It is a fundamental human right. It stems right from the right to education. Every single child has the right to develop their abilities. And hey, that doesn't just mean sitting quietly at a desk. It means building their physical, social, and motor skills through structured play and sports.
This brings us to Adapted Physical Education, or AP for short. And honestly, it's kind of a mix of art and science. It's a structured, carefully designed program tailored specifically for learners with disabilities, usually covering kids from ages 3 all the way to 21. But listen, it's way more than just surviving a 45-minute gym class.
We're talking about giving these learners the vital skills they need for a literal lifetime of recreation, sports experiences, physical fitness, and overall wellness. It's a real game changer.
To put that into perspective, think about the difference between standard sports and adaptive sports. Standard sports rely on, well, standard rules and equipment that everybody uses the exact same way. Adaptive sports flip that whole script. They modify the rules or bring in specialized equipment to fit the specific needs of the players. Imagine using balls that beep for visually impaired athletes or playing in specialized sports wheelchairs. The goal is exactly the same, getting out there and competing, but the pathway? That is completely customized.
And the way APE works is actually this beautiful step-by-step progression. Step 1 is simple. Just provide a physically and emotionally safe, accessible program. Step 2, use that safe space to actively build up the child's self-esteem. And step 3, which is really the ultimate goal here, is to help them transition toward an integrated, regular PE program whenever possible. It's literally a stepping stone to full inclusion. Section 5, the power of inclusion. Because when we talk about inclusion, the impact goes so far beyond just physical health. When a child with special needs is included right alongside their peers, it massively boosts their social skills. It helps them make friends. It builds this deep, essential feeling of belongingness, like they know for sure they're a valued part of the class. Plus, they get to enhance their motor skills and experience what real success feels like. And honestly, it encourages empathy, learning, and discovery among all the students, no matter what their individual abilities might be. Section 6, the professional support team.
Now, you can't just toss a diverse group of kids onto a field and expect this flawless inclusion to happen magically. It takes a village, right? Let's move to and see how this builds a holistic support system around the child. You might have a speech therapist in there helping with communication so the kid can easily chat with teammates. Then you've got a special education teacher focusing on those fine and gross motor skills. And finally, the physical education teacher takes all that specific knowledge and executes the specialized programs right there on the ground. Everyone has to be totally in sync and talking to each other.
But hold on. Before any of this incredible teamwork can even start, there is one non-negotiable first step. A complete, comprehensive medical checkup. It's absolutely crucial. Without it, the teachers and support staff simply can't fully understand the specific needs they're dealing with. You have to establish that baseline safely before you can start building out any of the adaptations.
So we've covered a ton of ground today, from cutting through the terminology to the incredible collaborative art of adapted physical education. But I really don't want the learning to stop here at the end of this explainer. I want you to look around your own life, whether it's your local schools, community centers, or just the neighborhood park. How can we actively adapt our own environments to ensure that everyone, and I mean absolutely everyone, gets a chance to play? Thanks so much for joining us today. Keep asking those big questions and keep pushing for inclusion.